Have you ever wondered why there were thousands and thousands of dice? Six, a cube-shaped uh, six-face object, which is used in playing Ludo, Chaturanga, and many different things. Thousands of them were found in Harappa excavation sites. Why Hindus used to play this particular game? Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the president of India, wrote a beautiful, he was a great philosopher, by the way, and he wrote a beautiful book uh, citing why this number six and casting dice was so important and fundamentally related to Sankhya philosophy and, of course, the origin of this game was related to Shiva's Nataraja dance, Lakshmi and Narayan used to play in heaven this Chaturanga. Why? Were they so much interested in game? Was it for their entertainment purpose? No, was a deeper philosophy into this. And today I will reveal to you why casting dice and the Hindu games, different games that Hindus developed as part of its religion, were so fantastic in philosophy, in understanding the origin of universe and playing a game. As I said, that Hindus used to learn from the origin of the universe, and those principles they included as integral part of their life and their conviction towards understanding and realization of universe and its fundamental laws. So dice has six different planes. So when you cast it, one of the six will come, right? So you may think that you are getting particular number. The probability of getting one number is 1 by 6. So 6 number is referred to as Hara Parvati. The triangle this, lower triangle and upper triangle, they come together. And this is the unification of Hara and Parvati. But at the same time, 6 is a number, and when you are casting, two persons are casting, there are probability that 2 to the power 6, that is 64 different choices that you can combine. And you remember the fighting between Brahma and Shiva? Because, of course, Brahma helped Shiva in many different ways when Shiva played with Daksha's daughter. And then they played in Uttarakhand, some mountain. On top of the mountain, there is a tiny temple where they got married, and Brahma was the priest in that marriage. So he helped Shiva in every single way, but they got into fighting. Why? Because Brahma then had five faces, so five different kind of symmetry structures in the time scale. So Hindu time scale, if you look at it, they are not linear. They don't have non-linear properties even. At some time gaps, you will find lots of units are there, and at some time gaps, there is a huge gap and no unit you will find. So Truti, that was the smallest 100 nanoseconds. That is the smallest time that the Hindus used to use, and then 10 to the power 22 years, that is one breathing of Brahma, is the largest time scale. And in this time scale, there are five different clusters of time zones, which used to regulate all the fundamental dynamics of the universe, and that represented five phases of Brahma. And with that, Brahma became very arrogant and very proud of him, proud that he knows all the secrets of the universe. And then Shiva challenged him and is told that unit of time or structure of time or Kala Chakra, mastering Kala Chakra is not everything. So they got into fighting, and then fighting went on and on and on. And then finally, Shiva cracked one particular time scale where the majority of the conscious pictures unfold in the entire universe. So from Truti to 10 to the power 10 to the minus 7 second, or 100 nanoseconds, that is Truti, you will find it. You will find all the different scales, list of the scales in internet. So it is not a difficult thing to find. So when you go from the smallest to the largest time scale, you will find that that at a particular region around millisecond to second domain, the clustering is is the highest. So that is where the consciousness unfolds in different parts of the universe, in the known universe, mostly. So you will find consciousness life forms concentrate in that time zone most. So what Shiva challenged Brahma, that if you just look at the structure of time, you don't understand it. You need to include dance in it, different geometric forms. So Shiva is analogous to yoga, Mahayogi, Adi Yogi. You have heard the word. So he used to dance, and 108 different types of dance forms he brought into existence. So Nataraja dance was actually during the fight he came upon. So that is not the only story. The 64 yogi and yoginis. So from Vairava, from Vairav, that one Nataraja dance forms that you observe. So these are the different fivefold symmetries of two hands, two legs, and one body. Shiva demonstrated that when you have these fivefold symmetries, it is non-replicable. It is unique and a fundamental symmetry of the universe. However, it takes into different transform. It transforms into 108 different ways. That's why even now, when you do the Nataraja dances, you can find 108 different dance poses or forms, and one form transforms into another different forms. So that is not included in the structure of time or the Kala Chakra's fundamental symmetry, that Brahma told that that particular knowledge he had, he did not. So from the Vairava to two forms, and two to the six times the Hara Parvati union, or uh, the fusion of male and female Ardhanarishadda form. So that is represented by upper triangle and bottom triangle fusing together from top and from bottom. So if you take 2 to the power 6, so that two from yogi and yogini, Adi Yogi, the Yogi and Yogini, Shiva split into two. So Shiva was so much in anger, so that its Ardhanarishar form split into two, and then 6 times it unfolded. So 2 to the power 6 is 64. That's why you will find 64 yogis and 64 yoginis. So 64 yogini temple in Madhya Pradesh, from which the previous parliament was designed. So that came because of the fighting between Shiva and Brahma in Varanasi many years back. And then after that particular dance form and showing the dynamics, that 2 to the power 6 times of dynamics, Brahma considered a defeat. Brahma considered defeat, and Shiva chopped off one of his head. Basically, chopping doesn't mean cutting off. What he did actually in principle is that showed that when the consciousness unfolds in the entire time domain through the one breathing of Brahma, this particular time scale where symmetry unfolds, consciousness unfolds and shows its typical form, 108 dance forms are needed, and 64 yogi and 64 yoginis, their structures, their mutual game playing is essential. So that's why 8 cross 8 64 a quaternion structure you can find in chessboard. You can find in Chaturanga 64. This 64 is not an accidental, suddenly Hindus thought, okay, let's have 64. No, 64 came from Shiva's yogi yogini forms. So when you get into this 64 boxes, 8 cross 8 dimension, then you need to play the game where you have a cube. It is not that Hindus didn't know about any other geometric shapes. They knew it. But 6 comes from the union of Hara Parvati. That's why you cast the die. And This is beautifully explained by Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan in his book, and I learned actually from there, and then I combined with others. So it changed my views about Sattarajatama gunas, and how you are casting dice actually lets you understand the statistical probability of different forms, and that governs the origin of the universe. So when you are playing Ludo, when you are playing Chaturanga, when you are playing chess, basically you are exploring the yogi and the yogini's form from the Bhairava to the journey of yogi, Chaunsat yogi or Chaunsat 64 yoginis. So this journey you explore in the board. How do you do that? So in this particular case, every one of six has a very particular parameter of consciousness. For an example, the whole universe is Purna, zero. Then the Anadi Ananta Adiyogi comes, and then that one actually says that this is complete. So he is the first observer. That's why Adi Yogi. Yoga means connection. Connection is from me to infinity. The soul to the infinity. Infinity, this connection is created by Adi Yogi. So Adi Yogi comes the first person. But if he comes, one person comes, then who confirms that you have seen the whole? Then there comes the second observer, confirmer, who confirms that, well, you have seen it. But understand this, yogi is the representative of the whole in one, and then there is one observer who confirms it, but the confirmation has been done. Who is going to say that? So that's why come the third. That's why three eyes are necessary for consciousness, and third eye is the most important. So one eye gives me that I see the consciousness. The second one confirms that, okay, the whole has been seen. And the third one says that, okay, an observation and confirmation event has taken place. So the independence comes from triad of the three. That is what Rajatama and other different gunas. So number one, number two is the duality, whether it exists or not, and two other side of the same coin, yin yang or whatever it be the representation that you consider. And the third is the three gunas. Now the four is the split, is the pairing. Why the pairing is necessary? The pairing is necessary because when a yogi and a yoginis form, you need to replicate the same process of confirmation. So that's why from one yogini, two yoginis form, and one yogi, two yogis form. You can find it Mahakalas, stotras, and others. This has been depicted in very unique way. How 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64 different yogi yoginis form. So when you are playing on the chess board or ludo board, basically you have to understand that all 64 boxes actually represented by 32 yogis and 32 yoginis. So yogi is represented by white boxes, and then yoginis were gray boxes. There were no black boxes, there were gray. Initially Hindus never use black. For Hindus it is gray, because black and white were prohibited, because binary systems, 0 1 was not allowed. Gray means combination of many different shades between white and the black. So that's why initial chaturangas and everywhere, when the chess and other kind of games went to the Western universe, the Western world, and to the Europe, they converted into black and white, and then elephant was changed as with camel. But elephant has a religious significance for Hindus. You know this, because elephant's trunk, elephant's eyes, elephant's teeth, all of them has different significance. That's why Ganesha concept is there, and many of you have studied. If not, you can study from the internet why elephant is so important, why king is so important, why queen is so important. And it was queen's game, not king's game. Always remember, king remains idle, and it is queen who plays the game. That's why you will find the different fundamentals of Hinduism all embedded in a chessboard, in the Chaturanga, in the Ludo, in the ladder and snake game. You cast the Ludo, you go up by ladder. Ladder is the ladder of karma, because you need to go step by step to up, and then you jump with it. But if snake is representative of your dark side. So if you are consumed by your dark side, you come down. So that also happens in a very, very particular places. And if you look at it, you will find the prime numbers or Daivic numbers are the numbers that takes you up and takes you down. Primarily, that was in the early mokshas. And when I used to, we used to see the old pictures of this game of moksha and and the snake ladder game. Then we used to see 97, you can reach 97 and you can come down to low. So so this was kind of a game that was invented to play it. But when I'm casting the dice, what am I actually doing? You are getting one of the six numbers. So when you have a four, five is five fundamental elements, and six is the union of Shiva and Parvati. So when you are casting these dice, each and every cast has also an alternative meaning, that is ordering of the system, that is three, and on four it represents the joy and the perfect union. So it's a duality of duality, and that's why they say that every joy that is happening, the eternal bliss and happiness, is represented by four. While five is the fundamental elements, panchabhuta, you know. So whenever you are casting a dice and other person casting a dice, next time you play Ludo, you just check it out, how when two persons plays, what is the philosophical union that is happening. So you cast a five, you say that, okay, there are five fundamental elements, and that is what would be my next move. Then the other person gets put, okay, I will see it with consciousness. So when a one particular disc jumps onto another, and then it try to eat it, and through the path of karma, it tries to get liberation. So even in the Ludo, you have seen that there is a central region where from this all these four crossing paths, which looks like swastika. So, and in swastika, if you see my swastika episode, you will find that the center part is Bindu, where the moksha liberation was supposed to happen, and that is Sattva Guna you achieve, and all the four arms that is there, are four arms are part of. Are part of, and in which direction you go, you know this, right? So you go clockwise direction in this particular game. So everything is connected to everything, even every single game of dice. When you are casting it, 1/6 square, 1/6 cube, 1/6 to the power 4. So this probability, when statistical probability continues, you try to understand, try to build up that if with six fundamental different interactions that would govern our universe, with 64 different boxes, how it is played out. So you are not playing a chess, you are not playing a Ludo, you are not playing Chaturanga for entertainment. And why Shiva, even though Shiva invented this game during the fight with Brahma, why Lakshmi and Narayana always plays it? Because गोपाल हरे निर्गुण प्यारे तेरे बिना हमरा कौन नहीं. Opalana Hare. So Hari should play, isn't it? So the person who is taking care of the universe, governing it, should play. And who will invent? The person who creates and the person who destroys. they will create. So they fight, they invent, they do it, and then Lakshmi and Narayana keep playing all the days. They have to. Otherwise, how the universe will run? How the Sankhyas will come together, how the elements, fundamental elements will come together. And if the fundamental elements do not come together, how the union can happen in Hara and Parvati, how the union can happen between Shiva and Shakti. And if there is no union, the cycle will never get completed. So by playing dice, the universe is continuously creating and recreating the six fundamental features of consciousness. So casting a dice is a game of understanding consciousness, running a universe through 64 different forms of of dance, or 64 different forms of union-based interaction, 64 yogi and 64 yoginis. So 32 yogi and 32 yoginis, you put it on the board and you let them play. But each represents duality, the grayscale matter. We will not get into that. So what you understand today is that chess is not just a game. Chaturanga is not just a game. It's a way that when you play the game, you understand the philosophy of how the universe is playing at the fundamental elementary scale of 6 dimensions. And each dimension represents a very peculiar concept of consciousness. So from the whole, you get one, then you get duality, then three guna, then four mukha, 4 faces. And when you look at for all 4 different directions, you get the happiness of eternal bliss. And then 5 fundamental elements you explore, and then you do the union. That completes the scale. So when you are casting the dice, you are actually looking into the probability of which one you are, and the other person is answering, okay, if you do this, I do this. If you do this, I do this. Next time when you play the game, then you feel about it. And sometimes if you get time, read the documents of Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan to understand it more. There are several things I have omitted, I have not got into, because Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan took a lot of time to get into this. So if you like this kind of discussions, please do like and subscribe our channel, and we will come with unique this kind of features which are documented in different kind of commentaries and notes. And we will try to put only those notes which are not available in the internet. You need to go through those detailed commentaries and this thick books. And but when I will compile and tell it together, it will make sense for you. Thank you.